Okay, John, do you want to tell us what we've got here and how this relates to what we just filmed about what was going on in the oven and so forth?
Oh yeah, this is relates to the Sajeka files, and
And who was Sajeka?
John Sajeka was a scientist of a type, but probably more or less worked for the Black Ops, and he would go around to each company and collect different bits and pieces of information, and just collect the materials on it, and then after that the company would be out of business after that. And so what this actually relates to is when we were building these crystals, we were shown a process, and of course you had to have a very open mind, because the normal electronics engineer would not, he would just say bull to this. It just didn't exist. You couldn't make a transistor this way. You couldn't make a semiconductor material this way. You couldn't make a room temperature semiconductor this way. In reality, you could, because we have a whole board full of them here. And I'll just show it. I'll hold it up, and I'll point with my pen. This is actually a semiconductor right here. You see the two wires coming out of it, and you see the substrate, which is this big piece of brass here. Now, depending on what we were looking for and what we wanted to do, we would use a material like, if we were going for something like a silicon transistor, we'd want an aluminum base with this material. But we were going for a room temperature crystal to transfer power down number 30 wires. So what we wanted the crystal to do was add the extra energy to the wire to make up the difference. And there would be this crystal at one end transmitting the signal, and then this crystal at the other end receiving the signal. So the process was unknown at that time only to certain people, because the year is 1984, 85, right in there. And so what the process involves is a rock, just any garden variety rock that you can just go pick up off the street. Sort of like John Hutchinson's shake and bake method, only this is way before John Hutchinson. So we'd get a rock, and we would take that rock and we would mix hydrochloric acid, a 1/10 mix. In other words, 9 parts water, 1 part hydrochloric acid, and we'd mix that up and let it stand in distilled water. And then what we do is we drop the rock in the bottom. I don't know if you can see the rock that's in the bottom of this. And okay, so
Yeah, we can see.
okay, so what happens then is that this works like your stomach. It's going to digest the rock. Now, physically, you see the rock is still there, but it's actually digested all the minerals and elements out of the rock. So, okay, John, how do you get it out of there? Well, you put this iron rod in there, and you set up your jar, face the rod towards the north. That's what we were always told, face it towards the north.
Right.
Yeah, polar north.
Polar North.
And what happens after it digests it all is you get a crystal. You get a seed material.
Where does the crystal form?
It forms on the rod, and you get the one we're looking for is not this. We're looking for this bottom one,
Why is that?
because that's the actual material that's in the rock. Now we have a seed material.
Hold on. Okay.
Have a seed material. Now, we dry that seed material out. We scrape this off and we let it all dry out. And then what we end up is a seed material like this here,
What is that material?
which is a powder that's digested from this rock.
So what you've got in the bucket there? How many batches of this process or how of
Probably
rock?
500 batches.
Wow.
All right.
So what period of time did it take you to?
But we would use like a 5-gallon bucket to get that, and a big iron rod. In other words, like an inch in diameter.
So how long would it have taken?
It would take weeks and weeks and weeks, maybe 3-4 weeks, maybe 2 months, depending on how quickly the rock could be dissolved. So we get the material. Now, this is one form of a seed material. And when we're dealing with this rock here, which came out of a mine in Arizona somewhere, they never would tell us where.
What do you mean? They
Well, Sajeka would never say where the mine was, but it was in Arizona somewhere.
okay, so this is the secret sauce is
Yeah, secret sauce.
It's where it's where the rock
Right.
came from.
So,
Yeah.
remember, this is left over from 1984 and 85, so it's been in this bag all this time, and that's the material that comes out of this rock.
Out of which rock?
Out of this rock right here
Okay.
that came from that mine. Now, what we were doing was trying to seed the material to get a property in the material to come out of the material. Like, for example here, when we fired this at 2,500 degrees in an oven and it all melted down on top, then what we've done here is we're showing what was in there after we had it assayed. And you can see right here the little arrow pointing, it says there's gold right there. So there's gold mixed in with this crystal. Okay, now again, an example of the seed materials in this bottle. It's kind of hard to see.
Okay.
All right.
Which particular seed material is that?
Okay, this seed material in this bottle is what's doing these crystals.
Yeah, but where did that seed? Which batch did the seed material come from?
That came from this batch right here.
Okay.
And
And this batch came from which rock?
this came from iron pyrites,
Okay.
okay, and galenas and things like that. And
So nothing special about this.
nothing special about it because we're just digesting.
This wasn't the secret sauce.
No, there's
Yeah.
the secret sauce.
Is the rock
when we
from
say
Arizona,
sequ-
from
when we-
Arizona?
Right. When we say secret sauce, we're saying that each one of these rocks contains a secret sauce.
Yeah.
All right, and depending on what we're looking for here, and what we want to accomplish, that's the secret sauce.
Right. Right.
Okay, and it's the method of how you digest that secret sauce, like you see right here.
That'll give you. Then that'll give you
This will give you
what you want.
whatever the material is in this rock that was laying